Welcome to the show. I'm Dom Dumas, and I'm in Bangkok. I'm also the official podcaster of the SHL. Christian Olofsson of The Aware, episode 43. I'd like, as you heard at the beginning here, I have a guest on the episode, and that's Christian. Welcome to the show, Christian.
Thank you very much, Dom.
So, first off, where are you from?
I'm from Sweden, small town in Sweden.
Okay.
Grew up there, 10,000 people, but I left Sweden quite early.
Okay.
I was about 22. I moved to Canada, and I've been living abroad ever since. So.
Okay. Since 22, you've been living abroad.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you say a small town of 10,000. The town I'm from, is the capital of the county, or the county seat, what we call it in Minnesota, and it has 2,000 people.
Right.
So
that's a village. That's a village. No.
We don't call them villages in the States. So what caused you to leave?
It was work related. I was working for a well-known Swedish home furnishing company, and I was looking to I wanted to move abroad. I wanted to experience the world, and I used IKEA as a springboard, and moved from Sweden to Canada, to Toronto.
Okay. Are you still with IKEA?
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of?
Well,
okay.
Here it's a bit complicated in Thailand. It's a joint venture.
Okay.
But it's for sure IKEA related. I've been with them now for 18 years. So.
Wow. They must take care of you quite well.
They do. They move you to some nice places, some not so nice places.
Okay.
I'm very happy where I am now, but I've also spent time in Siberia and Russia and so on. But it's all been great work, opportunities and so on. So yeah, it's been good.
Siberia and Russia, what was that like?
Yeah, I was in Novosibirsk. I opened an IKEA store there. I was a project director for the first IKEA store in Siberia.
Wow.
It was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun as well. Some good hockey there as well.
Did you play?
No. I didn't play, but I was watching the KHL there quite a lot.
Okay.
It was actually a funny story. There was a Swedish goalie there for a year, the year when I was there.
Okay.
So he, of course, ended up, not having any friends or anything in Novosibirsk either. So when I heard that he was coming, I reached out to him. So we ended up. I was there. My family was in Moscow. I was living in Novosibirsk. His wife was in Sweden. He was living in Novosibirsk. So we ended up spending quite a lot of time together there during that year in Novosibirsk.
Wow,
that was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've lived in Canada. You lived in Russia. Now Thailand. Any place else?
Nope, that's it. Many different places in Russia. I was there 7 years, and now I've been here 6 years in Thailand.
Okay. What's your favorite place?
Well, I would say opportunity and job-wise, it was fantastic to be in Russia there, 2003 to 2010. That was that really. I basically grew up. I had my two kids when I was living in Russia, so in many ways that was a fantastic opportunity, but when it comes to quality of life, I think it's hard to beat Bangkok.
I can understand that. I've lived in Thailand for 11 years, and Bangkok for the second time now for going on 6 years. I love it.
Yeah.
So I know you played some sports growing up. What did you play?
I played quite a lot of different sports. I was playing hockey from the age of probably 8 to 12. I was a goalie. But actually I quit when I was about 12, picked up other sports instead. I played floorball, which is kind of a ball hockey indoor kind of thing. It's quite big in Sweden, one of the largest sports there. So I ended up playing that until I was about 20, 21. Played played in the second division in Sweden.
Wow, like huge. You have divisions. It's that big.
Yeah, it's big. I think it's the number one sport, actually. I think it's bigger than soccer.
Wow.
And I think I think Sweden and Finland are every year in the finals in the world championship of floorball.
That's quite amazing.
It's quite small sport still, but it's Sweden and Finland dominating. Well, Switzerland too, I think.
I remember growing up, and I'm a hockey player. I grew up playing hockey. I played for 13 years growing up. But in schools, we also played floor hockey, which sometimes we had a ball, sometimes we had a foam puck or something like that. Very rarely was it anything like there was no division. Sometimes we'd have like a weekend tournament. A school would put together like 10 teams, and that would be like the extent of it.
No, I know. I mean, my friends in Canada, my relatives, they're all making fun of this sport, of course. In North America, it's not a sport. It's something you do in between breaks or maybe in PE sessions. But actually, in Europe, you can be a professional floorball player and you can make good money.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, not bad.
No, not wow, absolutely. Because that
wasn't me though. Just to be clear, that wasn't me. I wasn't making any money on this. But
okay. Because like I said, I mean, we played it we played street hockey. But we also had like floor hockey that we played on gyms, or in the spring we would play it on tennis courts and stuff like that. But it was like just normally a bunch of friends or whatever. So it's like quite big.
It is big. It kind of developed from just being sort of a PE activity, PE sport, also in Sweden, but really picked off steam in let's say like early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Wow. And I think Sweden won the world championship the first 16 years in a row or something like that.
Wow.
And then the Finns started to come back, and now it's sort of a battle between Sweden, Finland. I think Switzerland also has a pretty good national team there.
That's amazing. What position did you play there? Do they have like the same positions as hockey?
Yep, it's more or less the same. When I was playing hockey, I was a goalie. Hugely influenced by some of my relatives. They were netminders, so I was a goalie from the age of 8 to 12. Then I quit hockey and I moved to floorball and defenseman.
I'll tell you what, being a goaltender, I've played the position a few times.
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to stand there and take those shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't do it. So
no, I guess I could only do it till I was about 12 years old.
Yeah.
But I got my son now. He's sort of deciding if he's going to be goalie or a player. I agree with you. You need to be quite special. You need to be very focused, and you need to be able to have a short memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't be one of those guys that are like. It's kind of like in the NFL, the kicker. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The extra point kicker. It takes the same type of mentality. You can't let that one miss get to you.
No.
And
you got to love the big moments. Like
absolutely.
Just if I may recall, it was during one of the games. My son, then, who is a goalie, he must have that sort of special mentality, because he was saying, there was I think it was 2-1 or 2-2 with like 1 minute left. They were pulling the goalie, and then he was playing he was an underage player in an overage game.
Okay.
And the coach was sort of saying, like, shall we throw in our and he was a backup goalie in this division. And the coach was saying, like, should we throw in our good goalie, But my son was immediately saying that no, I want to play these 30 seconds. I want to be the hero. And that, I think, is that's sort of a testament to what kind of mentality you need to have as a goalie, because I think a lot of players would say, yeah, get me out of there, let someone else.
That would have been me. I'd have been like, no, I'm not. Let somebody else
finish the game. Yeah.
But my stepbrother, in the same breath, he had that mentality. He was like, never played hockey before until we met each other. And he was a wrestler, and he played indoor soccer in the winter. He gave both of those up to start playing hockey. Couldn't skate, so he said, all right, I'll be a goaltender. Yeah. One of the best goaltenders I'd ever seen. And he was just like, he's like, don't take me out. I can do it. Yeah. It's crazy. They're crazy. Yeah. So
we need good goalies. We don't have many here in Thailand, and it would be nice to have a few more.
Well, if he's coming, he said last time I talked to him, which was just the other week, he said he's still got his gear. So if he ever comes to Thailand, I'll tell him to bring his gear. So.
Sounds good.
All right. So IKEA is what brought you to Thailand.
Yep.
Okay.
In many ways, yeah.
Okay. And how did you find out about hockey in Thailand?
I think I had read something about that the Flying Phalanx in particular, that there was hockey to be played in Thailand, but I had not played since I was 12 years old. My last game, I was a goalie. I'd never played out, and I had no intentions of playing here, I don't think. But then after working here about a year, I just came to this realization that I needed something different. I mean, let's face it, we're very much aliens here, and the cultural differences are huge. So I think I was just looking for to meet people with similar interests, to sort of find this social oasis or a culture away from what I was dealing with Monday to Friday. So I said, okay, why not? I went and watched a tournament, and then I started to play in what was then called the Thai World Hockey League, the TWHL.
Okay.
So that was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So that was my first game as a skater, as a player ever. And but yeah, I really enjoy this sort of it's a recreational thing. It's just for fun, but it's actually, I think it's prolonged a lot of things for me. Prolonged my stay in Thailand, perhaps even.
Okay.
Just the fact that I could find something that gave me an outlet for something else. So it's been great. I owe a lot to hockey here in Thailand.
That's interesting. I mean, because I kind of went through the same thing when I was here in Bangkok the first time, and I didn't have anything in Chiang Mai, but that's kind of why I started doing yoga. I got into yoga. I'd never done yoga before. My wife finally convinced me to do it, and it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But again, I was mostly surrounded by Thai people, so again, I was the foreigner. And then when we moved back to Bangkok, I studied Muay Thai, and again, I'm like one of the few foreigners that studied. I was the place I was studying at. I was the only person who studied Muay Thai. But then I started studying started studying karate, and I was their very first foreign student. I was their very first Western student. Everybody else at the time was either Japanese or Thai. So, but it was like I was still kind of the outsider. Yeah. So I never really had that, but I don't know. I was kind of different. I mean, that drives me on to do try a little bit harder and stuff. Yeah. So, but so you played for the Thai World Hockey League.
Yeah. So that was 3 years ago. That was the league that was available at that time, okay. And it was good. It was a team of 4 teams, a league of 4 teams. Sorry. That was sort of my first taste of hockey in Thailand. It was a little bit, I never really understood who was behind the league. I knew a couple of guys that were vocal and sort of running the show, but to me it was still one of those little bit of a mystery of how this all came together. And all of a sudden there was a trade, or all of a sudden there was some player went from one team to another, or there was something going on during the course of the league. And at hindsight and looking back at it, I'm amazed that first of all that there was a league, that there was an opportunity to play in Thailand, and then also that it was organized by players, and just a handful or even just 1 or 2 of the players were also running the league. And I can imagine how difficult it must have been, trying to organize adults and a lot of different personalities and people with different objectives and agendas, and trying to get them organized to play a recreational league in Thailand must have been extremely difficult.
Oh, I have no doubt. So you said you started playing with them about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's funny, because that's when I got my rollerblades, and I struggled with that decision, because it was like, do I want ice skates? Because I had talked to the people at Sub-Zero about hockey, and they're like, there's a league just for foreigners, and there's a league just for Thais. And then I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I haven't played hockey since I was like 18, haven't skated since I was about 19.
Yeah.
But I decided, you know what, I'll go with rollerblades, because I felt at the time I was kind of done with hockey. Yeah. Watching you guys play, it's a different story now, but that's a whole nother topic. But so you weren't involved in any way with behind the scenes?
No, I wasn't. And to be honest, I mean, the first year I played here, it was more for me, like I said, to find something else to do outside of work, and I was just focused on trying to learn the ins and outs of playing the game. Like I mentioned, I never even skated and played ice hockey as a player. My first TWHL game as a defenseman was my first ever hockey game as a skater. So to me, I was just trying to get into it again and so on. I wasn't paying too much attention to how the league was organized or anything like that. Okay. And that was 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and the following year I also played in the TWHL, and liked it a lot. It was great in many ways, but that was the final season of TWHL. After that, the league folded.
Okay.
And it was basically a break of 1 year. And no one really knew if there was ever going to be a
Did
league
it fold,
again.
or did they just say we're going to take a break?
Well, there was simply no one that wanted to pick up and organize it again. So I don't know all the stories from behind my history of hockey in Thailand. It really spans the last 3 years. Like I said before, I have full respect for how people were trying to run it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So the only option last year was the Bangkok Ice Hockey League, the BIHL, which is the Thai run league. They have more teams. However, the level of players, there's a lot bigger gap.
Yeah, there's a huge gap from like just in range of skill of players. I noticed that just in the 3 games that I've seen.
Yeah. So. But it's still, I mean, it's great. There's like 11 teams, I think, in the BHL.
Yeah, there was 11 teams this just past season. Teams, so
So 11 teams, that's just a fantastic achievement in itself, I think.
Absolutely.
And so I ended up playing in that league, which is also great. Getting to know some of the Thai players and making friends there also.
Okay.
Was
it hard to get, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Was it hard to get into that league? Because like I said, when I was talking to people about 3 years ago, it was like there's a Thai league, there's no foreigners, and then there's the foreign league. So was it hard for you to get into the Bangkok Ice Hockey League at the time, or did they just open up and said, okay, everybody can play?
I think what happened was that in the first couple of seasons in the BIHL, they said that it was for sort of Thais only, but then each season there's been a steady inflow of foreign players as well. Okay. But I think that they've been quite selective in who they actually invite.
Okay.
And that's their prerogative, I guess. And so in the last year, the season they just finished in September, had quite a lot of foreign players, at least in some of the teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Your team in particular had quite a few, if I'm not mistaken.
Thunder, we had quite a few, and I think, to be honest, it just comes down to some of the players on that team are also the coaches of my kids. Okay. So when I started asking about what about the BIHL, they said, hey, why don't you join? And then I actually got a question as well. Can you help us? We need some extra players. Who else do you think would like to play? Okay. And that's when I got John on and some of the other guys as well.
Okay, interesting.
So what I just think is great is that there's no blockage in any way. There's no this is the Thai league and foreigners are not allowed to play, and this is the foreign leagues and the Thais are not allowed to play. There's a good mix of both there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a great thing because it helps everybody develop in a whole lot of areas, not just in hockey itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So how did the SHL come about? I mean, you're a part of the executive committee, the league committee.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did it come about?
Yeah. First of all, we're trying to run this as a committee because we just know the toll that it takes on the one or the two persons that are trying to run this league. So that was one of the first things that we said. I got contacted by Scott Murray and John actually, just asking if I had an interest of being involved, and they sort of told me what their vision was and so on. And at that time, I just felt like I really missed the TWHL. I wanted to get back into playing the whole year as well, not just the BIHL season. I really wanted to play hockey 12 months out of the year if I could. Okay. So they asked me if I was interested in helping out, and I think it was just a matter of timing, because at that time I was also feeling that I want to give something back. I want to do something for hockey in Thailand. It had helped me during the first three years, and if I can provide something similar for someone else, I would love to do that. And we put a committee together, 7 people. So we help each other, and we sort of push and pull and get things done through that committee. Okay. I think that helps tremendously. Quite a diverse group of guys. So we got a couple of Thais. Jeb running the referees, right, and Prach doing helping us with the marketing. Okay. And then we got Alice there on the financial side. We got Alex, who is godsend. Spent so much time at the rink and
my plan is to get him on the show too, because
yeah,
I'd like to know how he got involved. So
absolutely, and we got to try to find a replacer for him. The word is that he's leaving maybe next year. So
really,
so trying to find someone that can do the work that he does is not going to be easy.
Okay.
But that's the way it is, I guess, everywhere where hockey is played. Doesn't matter if it's a mature market or a market like Thailand. You need those volunteers.
Yeah,
and the guys
absolutely.
That don't mind, spending a Sunday night at the rink when you got a family at home and so on. So we need some more Alexes here in Bangkok for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was so shocked when you guys contacted me after doing the podcast and vlog about the BIHL and wanted me to be involved in this on my end of it. So I'm so stoked about it. I've loved what I've done so far. So what's your role on the committee?
So what I do is that I help out with on the management side. I do a lot of the paperwork, to be honest, and my role is the secretary. I love it. It's a laid-back role in terms of I don't need to be on the front end. We'll push John in front of us.
It's a good person to push in front,
right? At the same time, I know I can get things done. I can manage things. So I believe I provide quite good support for the rest of the committee there also, to make sure that we at least that we stay organized and we fulfill this promise that we've said that we want to run a well organized recreational league. There's no one in this league that's going anywhere. We're just having fun.
A recreational competitive league. That's what I've noticed so far.
It's as competitive as it gets in Bangkok, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've seen a few games where it's like in the BIHL, or not, I hadn't actually seen them. The lower level teams are very competitive with each other, but when they play with some of the higher level teams, there is no competition. And we talked about that in the timeline I had, I think right before I had you on the vlog.
Yeah.
But the games that I've watched, in general, except for the Spitfires versus the Hooters, in general, the games have been quite competitive. So,
no, it has, and that was really the goal of putting this is a draft league, so we want the teams to be as even as possible. And I mean, we were high-fiving.
Sorry, not the Spitfires. It was
Aware Hooters.
The Aware Hooters, yeah.
But after the first night, we were all high-fiving, the whole committee, all the team managers. We basically put 4 teams together, and both games ended in a shootout. After the first, so we were like, okay, great, fantastic,
excellent start.
This is how we want it to be. We don't want the blowout wins and so on. We want tight, close games. It is tough though. We have 13 skaters on each team, 1 goalie on each team. That's really what we can muster at the moment. We would love to have a 5th team next year and then continue to grow this as the seasons goes on. But at the moment we only have enough players for 4 teams, and then we got some really good substitute players as well that can fill in,
which you do need, absolutely, because
there's always someone. There's always someone that has a work related commitment or something like that. So we need to bring in subs as well, and that's always the tricky part. And I think that's one of the big reasons why there's always a lot of arguments as well between players, between teams. Someone loses one player and picks up another one. Is that player of equal value, or that's always the discussion. But yeah, it's a long season, so hopefully it evens out over the course of the different games.
I think it will. I mean, it's going to be competitive, and when it's competitive, there's obviously going to be tempers that flare. That's just a natural thing. But afterwards, you all sit down and have a beer together and say, "Hey, that was actually a good game," or whatever. Hopefully.
Exactly.
So you decided to have a draft. What brought that about?
Well, that was in the, going along with this concept of that we wanted 4 competitive teams. We sat down with the team managers and basically ranked players and then put them together so that into 4 teams that we thought would match up well against each other.
Okay. And where do you sit in that ranking?
Pretty low, to be honest. No, I'm totally fine with that. That was, it's always super difficult to sit down and rate a player, you know?
Right.
Especially when you have a committee of 7 guys, and then you have 4 team managers, and then you have a list of 58 players, and then you're gonna put sort of a ranking to those. And that is, I mean, no matter, you know, and they're all your friends.
Right.
So how do you
difficult.
Yeah, it's super difficult. And that's why we've, this year, and we're most likely going to do that for some time as well, is that we're doing this within you know, within closed doors. And no one knows, you know, where they were sort of ranked there.
Right.
What we did this year was that we announced the first 4 picks of each team, so the first 16 players. We did a bit of a promotional thing about that, because it's always fun, of course, to see, you know, who went number 1 and 2 and 3, etc. And then the rest we went in alphabetical order. So my last name is O, and that's probably also quite equivalent to where I was in this ranking.
Okay, that I guess makes sense.
Right.
So does that mean, like, so next season you're going to have another draft, or are you going to keep the teams together as they are? Are you going to have trades in the off season? What's going to happen?
There's always a lot of movement from one season to another, you know, players being available, not available, leaving Thailand, new players coming in, so there will most likely be another draft. That's the way the TWHL has been organized as well for all those years when that was running. So I can see that still for a couple of seasons that'll probably still be the deal. It'd be great to be able to put, you know, teams together so that you can really start to build that team mentality as well, because the downside of this with the draft league, of course, is that you change team every year.
Right.
But there's so many other things that plays into that as well. We are looking for sponsorship, of course, so from one year to another there might be different sponsors.
Right.
Today we got 4 sponsors, super appreciative of the support that the league has got there from those 4. Next year, if we get
you can mention them if you'd like, that's fine.
Sure. Okay. Well, we will. But yeah, we got 2 bars. So we got Sports Corner Titanium sponsoring one team, and then we got Hooters Nana sponsoring another one, and then we got 2 more sponsors, 2 more teams. We got Aware Software, which is obviously a software company running with multiple locations, but they have one of their offices is here in Bangkok, and then we also got a private sponsor that doesn't really want it to be official, but we got a private sponsor as well that has its own hockey team, so that's quite cool as well. That's the Spitfires.
Okay.
And I'm fortunate enough to play on Aware. We got awesome jerseys. We got a great team.
All the jerseys, I was really impressed. Like when I came down for you guys' first game, I mean, you did it as a league. You got all the jerseys as a league versus the jerseys for the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only reason I say that is because I can remember in the leagues that I've played in, also seeing my dad playing in, like, we had an old timers league, or not we, I wasn't a part of that, but they had an old timers league, and it was like your team had to provide you your uniforms. So it was like you had to go find your own sponsors, whereas you're doing this on a league level instead of on a team level.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see how this develops as well. I mean, if you look at the BIHL, it's very much like that. So you either find a sponsor, or you source it yourself within the team. Some teams go takes it one step further, and they got their own bags and T-shirts and practice
I've
jerseys
seen those
and everything. And that's Pratch, by the way. That's why we pulled him into the committee as head of marketing. Because we wanted someone with sort of that vision. Because even though this is very much a recreational league, we still wanted this to be something that the kids that are coming practicing at Rama 9, if they stop and stay and watch a little bit of the game, we want them to have this sort of ambition and dream about, I want to play in the SHL when I'm 16. So if we then skate around with a green and a red socks and different colored jerseys for everything, it just doesn't give
look
the same.
Doesn't look as organized.
No, exactly. So, I mean, especially when you talk sponsorship and so on as well. If you want to go out there, you want to have a product that you can sell. That is, first of all, it needs to be a good on ice product, but it also needs to look quite good, to attract sponsorship. So I think, we got Pratch in. He spent a lot of time with the manufacturer of the jerseys, the uniforms.
Okay.
Made it look awesome, and And I think this will help us in the upcoming seasons as well. We already have some indications of that. If there's another team or if one sponsor leaves for next season, we got some interest for more sponsorships. Great. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is your role? Like you play for the Aware.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your role on the team? I mean, well, wait. Before I get into that, sorry. How did you decide on who was going to be the captains of the teams? I mean, I'm guessing probably John and Scott are like the kind of the two front guys of the SHL, and then they decided on the other members.
Yeah.
For the committee.
Yeah, very much so. I think the John and Scott Murray, they're really the founders of SHL. I think the persons that came on afterwards were Alex, myself, and Alistair first of all.
Okay.
And then we also brought on Pratch and Giab, and that came together quite quickly actually. And then we sat down and we said, okay, who would we want as captains, and what are the criteria? Because of course there's many people to choose from.
Yeah.
And we had a short list of about 10 guys, I would say.
Okay.
And they all shared more or less the same profile. We wanted someone that we felt that we could trust, someone that's professional enough, that could really chase down players for everything from payments to confirming that they're going to play this week and so on. There's quite a lot of behind the scenes that goes on to organize this for the teams to show up on time and on the right date.
I have no doubt. Like I said, my dad was not just in hockey, but he was involved in a lot of different sports. I remember him trying to organize a touch football league for adults.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of behind the scenes just for the Old Timers League. Yes, he was like not in charge, but he helped his team, but he also was in charge of like the whole group.
Yeah.
Not in charge, but he helped a lot with that, helping with like kids leagues. He helped. What else did he do? He just he was involved in so much, trying to start softball teams and getting everything organized and stuff. It's even as a group, it's a hard thing.
It doesn't matter if it's kids or adults.
Yeah.
It's more or less the same work required. Yeah. So then when it came to the captains, we I think we agreed very early on that these are the four guys. There was actually there was some discussions back and forth. We had a player that wasn't sure who was going to play, that we really wanted as a captain as well, but has worked out really well with the four that we have on board now. So
okay,
yeah, it's been great.
So who are the captains and who do they play for?
All right, so if we start with Hooters, we got Justin there.
Okay.
Justin has been in Thailand for a few years and played both in the old TWHL as well as the BIHL.
Okay.
One of the younger guys that we felt would probably grow with the opportunity to sort of chip in and help out the hockey community in Bangkok. So that's Hooters. And then for Spitfires, also another young guy. We thought that those guys would actually hit it off well and maybe find ways to develop and do something better for the league. That's Brad.
Mm-hmm.
So Brad is fairly new to Bangkok. A great guy to have on the team of the management team of the league. Has a good way of relating to the guys both on his team and the rest. So a great addition as well. Good solid defenseman. And then for Aware we got Patrick,
okay.
Fellow Swede. Funny story actually, when he's also fairly new to Bangkok. He's been there about a year.
Okay.
And the first time he showed up at the rink, I happened to be there as well. And I was sitting across from him in the locker room. And then when he started to pull out his gear, I didn't even know he was a Swede first. I think he was wearing a New York Rangers hat. So I thought it was
he does
American.
like the Rangers, yeah.
Right. But then when he started to pull out his gear, I saw that he had this Swedish commercials all over his pants, his shell pants. So then when I said hello, I said because I recognized the team as well.
Okay.
So I said, what years did you play there? Because my cousin played actually for that team, and ends up that he was a D partner with my cousin. I don't know, 15 years ago in Sweden. He played professionally as well for many years. So it's a pretty funny story actually.
That's pretty cool.
He used to play with my cousin, also in a fairly small town in Sweden, and then 15 years later, he's my D partner now in Bangkok. So
awesome.
That's it's a small world for sure. We got a really strong D core on the aware team. I think I'm ranked 4 there on the depth.
I don't know. You seem to do quite well in the 2 games that I've seen.
So. Well, when you play with Patrick, it's difficult not to look lost out there. But we got 2 really good Thai defensemen as well, both Champ and Jean, 2 big guys that can dominate, shoot the puck hard, and So we got a good defensive core, and then we got some veteran presence as well from Stan, the Slovakian ambassador. So our D core is quite strong, and then we got some really skilled forwards that can score as well. So I think the aware team, we have a good squad this first year.
Yeah, you guys look good. I mean, it was had to have been a tough loss that first game. But
I was, for sure. We just couldn't capitalize on our chances, and I felt that Titanium came away with one there. So we're looking forward to meeting them again.
How long before
Titanium has Zach Garofolo as their captain as well. Another guy with a big heart. He spends a lot of time at the rink, and he has ever since him and his wife moved to Bangkok. He runs kids practices on Saturday mornings and Tuesday nights. He also runs a hockey program for a school. Don't know exactly the name of the school, British Columbia something international school.
Okay.
So some Canadians on there, and he's got some support from the school to run a kids program for I think kids under age of 10.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a team there of mostly Thais.
Get them all ready for the SHL.
Right. So in 8-9 years, maybe they'll play in the SHL hopefully.
Excellent. So you guys, how do you practice? I mean, I don't know anything about. You don't. Okay. Okay. All right.
Right. No.
That's got to be kind of difficult when it comes game time. You don't really get a chance to work together.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. No, but that is. I mean, a lot of the players are showing up for Shinny on Thursdays or stuff like that. But as a team, we haven't really had those opportunities or taken those opportunities to practice. We did arrange for a couple of training sessions, but it's difficult to get everyone there at the same time. So I think what happens naturally in this league is that because there's only 4 teams and it runs actually for 6 months, there will be a lot of games against the same team. So as the season progresses, you get more familiarized with your own players and also the other teams, and you can start to play with a little bit more of a tactical game, perhaps against certain teams that you're versing.
Okay, so now I want to talk about the aware.
Yeah.
Like I asked you, that had to have been a really tough loss, that first game, losing in the overtime shootout. Yeah. You guys were ahead. What happened?
Yeah. We were. We just couldn't put any more pucks behind Gabor. He kind of gave them some extra life there, and then they managed to chip one in at the end. So I think they got 2 quite fluky goals. I think they scored in the first minute. I think our team was still sleeping, and John was so high on adrenaline for his first SHL game as the president. So. And we talked about that before. We said, okay, if we're gonna let someone score, we better let John score. He is the president after all.
Okay.
So I think that was we gave him that one.
Okay. And then last week.
Yeah.
Amazing recovery.
Well, yeah, I think that's when some of the frustration maybe. So I think there was someone whispering that we were running the score up a little bit too high there in the end, but I didn't feel it was like that. It was more that every shot almost went in the end. Hooters got a great goalie in Dream, and you got to shoot a lot on him. And in the end, we I think every other puck went in there in the third period. So
that's what it was looking like. But like I said, knowing goaltender, I'm a defenseman myself, so I kind of get to know my goaltenders. Once something breaks in a game, it's really hard for them to come back, and you've got no way to pull your goaltender to get to replace him. Do you know what I mean?
No,
so
that's it. Yeah, only got one. No, it was it was a lot closer than what it looked on the score sheet. I felt, at least, playing that game. Hooters got a good team as well. They are missing two of their better guys.
Okay.
As well. So I think their record doesn't look so good after the first couple of games.
There's a game coming up.
But that will change when those guys come back into the lineup. So it should be good.
Okay, so now you got a game on Monday. Who do you play?
So we play Spitfires.
Okay.
And it's going to be interesting because they have a lot of players actually missing for this game.
Oh, really?
They've got 5 guys missing.
Okay.
So there'll be quite a few substitute players on that team.
Something to capitalize on, or try to capitalize on.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do. They got the leading goal scorer in Adrian there from the blue line. So we got to find a way to shut him down. We're also missing a couple of guys actually, and we'll have a substitute goalie also in there.
Oh, okay.
So looking forward to the game.
I know that they're a bigger team
to look forward to.
Yeah, I know they're a bigger team. That they like to use their size and push guys around.
Yeah.
You being a defenseman, how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, I think we can handle ourselves too, especially on the back end. We're quite. I think we can handle ourselves. Okay. I think it's more our forwards. We have some forwards that are very skilled, but on the smaller side. So we got to find a way to beat them with our speed there, I think.
Like Gretzky used to do.
That's right. And no Gretzky's in this league, though, I can tell you.
No, but I mean, you do have. I'll be honest. From what I've seen, you got some really good, well-skilled players. I mean,
no, absolutely, and I think, I mean, that's you gotta have we try to have a very long-term view on this league. This is we to be honest, we started this to for ourselves in many ways. You know, we wanted to get back to playing in a league again, but at the same time, as a committee, we've tried to set this up so that in the event of someone leaving, or that this league will still carry on, and that we're not just setting this up for the 2016-2017 season. We're actually setting it up so that it will be successful long term.
Okay. So
of course, trying to have people in the committee that are committed long term, and that hopefully will stay in Bangkok for a while. But like I mentioned, in the case with Alex, if he's moving on next year, we want to be able to slot someone else in that can at least try to fill up the void that he would leave, and by being organized in a certain way, hopefully that will make it easier next year for whoever comes in if he leaves.
Okay. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to be a part of it from the beginning, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, what you bring into this has been more than what we could ever imagine as well. I mean, we were talking about when we met the first time. We actually had a Skype meeting, myself, John, and Scott, and we were talking about, okay, what's our ambition for this league? And we were saying that, well, we need to have a Facebook page, and we need to have a web page to show the stats. And that's where we were at, and now we got an official podcaster, we got an official photographer. We are talking to magazines about getting some articles in.
Really, that's awesome.
So I mean, again, this is just to try to increase the interest so that we can, for example, get more sponsorship, so that we can reduce player fees. But we also would like to, of course, try to build up a hockey community so that if someone is planning to move to Bangkok, it should not be a reason that, oh well, I cannot play hockey there, so I'll move to Hong Kong or Singapore instead. Yeah, there should be something here at least, so that players of more or less all levels could enjoy either playing the SHL or BIHL.
Well, like I said, I was just completely ecstatic when first John emailed me, and then got you in on the email, and going to meet you guys, and just hearing what your plans were. And I had a feeling of the excitement that you guys really wanted for the SHL, and for me to be a part of that is it's awesome. I'm excited. It's one of those things like, it's like, I wish I just had so much. I wish I had more time to do this and this and this. But
I know. I mean, that's some have more or less than others before retirement. But I know that some guys maybe on the SHL committee are thinking about that. This could be something that they could do once they retire. John being one of them. But in my case, I see this more or less just as a hobby on the side, happy to be able to help out somewhere, and we have to remember that this is no one is getting paid here for doing any of this. So just to be able to keep some fun stuff happening on our web page, on the Facebook page, to have the photos. Everyone loves to see the photos. Doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, it's still fun to see the photos from the game that Mr. Nagama is taking. And then now this is a total new level with the podcast and everything. And
new for you, new for me.
So. Right, you already got some quality YouTube material there with Gabor's interview.
He was between Gabor and Adrian in that first week, and then talking to the coach or the captains. Yeah. And then Ioni last week. It's great. And then I had DJ on the show. Yeah. And then you coming on. This is like so awesome for me. So
no, I think those player interviews are a lot of fun. They're good for a chuckle the day after the game there when you watch the podcast. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself more organized and get those out for you guys sooner than I have. But
I know it's great. It's great. You're also doing this voluntarily. So
yeah. So but I love it. I mean, I loved playing hockey, and I had 2 years in a row with some coaches that I just didn't get along with, and I kind of felt, for me, I had reached my peak level. I didn't foresee myself playing hockey in college.
Yep.
Something that when I was younger I wanted to do, but as I got older, I kind of saw where my level was at compared to a lot of the guys that I was playing with. I wasn't who my dad was. He was a great hockey player. Yep. A lot of the guys that my dad coached or that my dad knew, I knew for a fact I wasn't at that level, like David Christian, Phil Vercoda, guys like that. And I'm looking at it and going, yeah, I'm nowhere even near that. I'm kind of, I'm at my level here. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But
that's a good thing. I think there was, I must say, I mean, we could not accommodate every single player that wanted to play in the SHL this season, and that was tough. We had some players that basically were not drafted, that did not slot in within those the allocated spots that we had. There are 13 skaters and 1 goalie per team. All of them could then be slotted over to subs, so not a big issue there. But of course, if you really want to play regularly, we would need to have more teams. Yeah. So
did you not have enough for 5 teams, or was this something like
we didn't? If we would have gone to 5 teams, we would have had no subs whatsoever.
Okay.
And
you need subs.
It wouldn't have worked. So then we would have been in a situation where we would have to ask players to play 2 games and play for different teams just to be able to fill out the squads, and it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, you don't want to kind of put yourself in that situation, especially right now, just starting out. So
exactly. So I think we will hopefully get there eventually. There's already been some new interest, and I think we did not pull a lot of players from the BIHL. There's still some good talented Thais that I think would be good additions to the SHL as well. But I think that they're kind of sort of waiting and feeling it out and seeing, okay, what is this league all about? And then hopefully the Thais that are playing on the SHL now says that you know what, this is a good level of hockey, and this is what we need to be able to develop, and this is good for the national team and so on as well.
So Thailand has a national team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Yeah, I'll be absolutely honest. I had no idea they had a national team. I mean, I haven't.
Yep.
Since I've been in Thailand, I asked a little bit about hockey like years and years and years ago. It sounds like I've been here for ages. But and I think I talked to a guy who played for the TWHL. He said they played someplace, I don't even remember where it was now. He's like, yeah, if you get some skates, come out and play. And I'm like, I'm kind of done with hockey. Yeah. But watching you guys play, it's like, I could play, but I want to do what I'm doing at the same time, And I know if I'm a player, I kind of wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I can do and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, for sure. There's a Thai national team. it's a little bit sporadic. If they have a tournament, if they have any games coming up, then they will organize some practice sessions and whatever. And every now and then they go for a tournament and so on. But it's the Ice Hockey Federation of Thailand is a bit anonymous at the moment. And what we have discussed, what we've talked about is like, one idea could be that the fifth team in the SHL is the Thai national team, for example.
That'd be interesting, or have an all-star team against the national team.
I mean, at least make sure that everyone that plays on the national team are also in the SHL in some form, either as a permanent player on one of the 4 teams or as a sub. To make sure that they get the competitive games, because it's tough for them. I mean, they can practice against each other, or they might pull some guys from the BIHL and try to run a practice every now and then. But I think if they want a good quality or a good frequency of good quality games, then maybe the SHL would help in that regard.
I think so, absolutely. So I want to thank you for coming on. I have this thing that I do with most of my guests now, because my guest last week said she wouldn't do it. But I like to have my guests do what I call an always remember, and just kind of leave them with something positive. Would you like to do that for me?
Okay, good. I was afraid you were going to ask me to sing or dance or something.
That's next time.
That's next time, yeah. Okay. What was that again?
Always remember.
Always remember. Well, okay. Well, I think especially since we're speaking to the hockey community here, I would like for everyone to always remember that we are extremely fortunate to be able to play the game of ice hockey in Thailand, and try to appreciate those who spend their free time volunteering, trying to make that make it possible for them to play hockey. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. It's been great having you on the show.
Thanks very much, Tom.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It's time for SHL News. SHL News, Week 3. We had some really exciting games down at the rink this week. In our first game, we had Sports Corner Titanium facing off against Hooters Nana. Sports Corner Titanium went into this week undefeated. In their first game, they beat the Aware 3-2 in an overtime shootout, coming in from behind. And then in the second game, they faced the Sukhumvit Spitfires, and they beat them 4-2. Their top goal scorers are Joni Hanonen, number 92, and John Sheknovsky, number 18, both with 2 goals apiece. Their top playmakers are Jari Eräkkäinen, number 95, and Remo Nefenegar, number 16, with 2 assists apiece. Their goaltender, Gabor Toth, number 50, has had some great games, stopping 32 out of 36 shots. Hooters Nana has had a really tough start in the SHL. In the first week, they lost to the Sukhumvit Spitfires, who came back from behind and then beat them in an overtime shootout 6-5. And then they really struggled against a really powerful team, the Aware, who beat them 7-2. Hooters' top goal scorers are Justin Denis, number 71, and Mu Tengsakul, number 78, both with 2 goals apiece. And their top playmaker is Steven Sproul, number 22, who has 2 assists. Their goaltender, Dream Unkopatsanuk, number 29, has had 40 saves out of 52 shots so far. He was replaced this week by Neng Prauez. In the first period, it didn't look so good for Hooters Nana, as they were down 4-1. But they came back strong in the second period, pulling ahead of Sports Corner Titanium and finishing them off in the third period with a final score of 7-5. A great way for Hooters Nana to get their first win against the only undefeated team in the league after Week 2, and winning in such a decisive manner. Goals for the Sports Corner Titanium came from Zach Garofalo, number 71, DJ Sherman, number 10, Joni Hanonen, number 92, and John Sheknovsky, number 18, all scoring in the first period, with Remo Nefenegar scoring their only goal in the third period. Goals for Hooters Nana. In the first, Paul Stoddart, number 44, got his first goal of the night, and then Hooters Nana dominated in the second period and then held off Sports Corner Titanium in the third. Paul Stoddart, number 44, got a hat trick tonight, with Donnie Kerfoot, number 71, scoring 2 goals, and an additional goals coming from Steven Iana, number 22, and Justin St. Denis, number 71. Neng Prauez replaced Dream in the nets this week for Hooters Nana, coming up with 23 saves for the night, and Gabor wasn't as hot as he has been in the past week with only 16 saves. The Rolling Stone player of the game was Paul Stoddart, making the first hat trick in the league this season. And I talked to him after the game. So I have the player of the game with us today. This is Paul from the Hooters. You got your first win of the season.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great to get the first win of the season. You know, first two games were a little bit tough. First game we were winning most of the game and lost the nail biter. Second game we got blown out a bit, so it was nice to get the first win finally. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a hell of a job tonight. What do you think contributed to that?
I think having a few of our better players back from being away for the first couple of games was nice. I think just getting used to the team, you know, players on the line. So we're finally learning each other's where each other are a little bit on the ice, and just, you know, working a little bit hard in the corners, and yeah, it's good.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
In our second game, we had Aware facing off against Sukhumvit Spitfires. Aware made a strong second showing last week, coming back after a tough overtime shootout loss against Sports Corner Titanium by completely dominating the Hooters Nana with a score of 7-2. Aware's top goal scorer so far has been Patrick Lundback, number 51, and Brandon Vick, number 2, both with 2 goals apiece so far this season. Their playmakers so far this season are Tan Limpenpet, number 26, and Devin Michael, number 39, Christian Olofsson, number 85, and Stanislav Opilia, number 27, all with 1 assist. The Sukhumvit Spitfires had a great opening game in the first week of the season by beating Hooters Nana in an overtime shootout 6-5. But then they struggled against Sports Corner Titanium last week and dropped a hard-fought game by 4-3. The Sukhumvit Spitfires' top goal scorer is Adrian Myers, number 11, with 3 goals, with Jeff McIntyre right behind him with 2 goals. Their top playmaker is Ernesto Bauer, number 6, with 2 assists for the season. Aware had an even more stellar game this week than they did last week, scoring goals in all 3 periods. Devin Michael, number 39, came out with 2 goals. Corey Day, number 14, Tor Chatsawan, number 65, both with goals and an assist, and goals from Ryan Haynes, number 19, Tan Limpenpet, number 26, and Yin Tenrokiriat, number 91. Jason Kosmeyer, number 30, hung in there with 21 saves out of 28 shot, and Lance Parker, number 30, filling in for Yves Gibralt, tallied a shootout with 16 saves on the night. It may look bad for the Sukhumvit Spitfires the last 2 weeks, but they've been battling with their regular players being away and have had to do the best they can with the subs that they can get onto the ice. Our Rolling Stone player of the game was Yin Tenryokiat, number 91, but sadly he had a prior engagement and didn't have a chance to sit down and talk with me. Our games next week on Monday, December 12th, will be the start of our rematches. For the first game at 8:30, we'll have the Hooters Nana facing off against the Sukhumvit Spitfires. Hooters Nana will be looking to avenge their overtime loss against the Sukhumvit Spitfires, while the Spitfires will be looking for a break in their losing streak. Both teams are hungry for a win this week. Should be a great matchup. For our second game, we have the Aware facing off against Sports Corner Titanium. The Sports Corner Titanium will be looking to recover from their loss against Hooters Nana, while the Aware will be fighting to keep their winning streak alive. I expect to see lots of action this game. Thanks for watching this week, and I'll see you at the rink. Please rate my show or leave a comment or make suggestions of what you would like me to talk about. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Dom Dumas, on Twitter at Dom Dumas, or on Instagram, Dom_Dumas. Thanks a lot.